Hi people, this is Chris for Drums Bonedo. Welcome to the channel. Today it's going to be all about the new Zultan Heritage flat rides. Enjoy! Why do you need a flat ride? That's hard to say, of course, because flat rides aren't necessarily one of the cymbals that every drummer has, nor do all jazz drummers have one in their setup. But flat rides have an interesting, or let's say more unique sound profile. The first flat ride or flat top ride was developed by Pfeile with Joe Morello in 1967. I heard this gem-like sound for the first time with Roy Haynes on the trio record Question and Answer with Pat Metheny from 1990. Flat rides have this special sound which sounds rather silvery and pearly with a constantly defined stick signal. This is why they are mainly found in setups by jazz and Latin drummers, but rock drummers like Charlie Watts also had one or two flat rides in his setup. So what is their special sound formula? Well, due to the lack of a bell, the cymbal doesn't get out of control even while playing fast patterns. But it doesn't crash well either, at least it doesn't produce the smoky crash sound of a normal thin or medium ride when you hit it on the edge. So here's a short comparison with one of my rides. There are now also some dry and complex sounding flat rides on the market, however the two new Zultan Heritage flat rides sound rather balanced to my taste, but also have character. Flat rides may sound a little less exciting to some of you when played solo, but they are particularly useful in a musical context. I find them ideal for piano trios or corporate gigs when the drums and especially the cymbals can't be too loud, and in all situations where a defined cymbal ostinato is required. Whether with brushes, uptempo swing or sambas, a flat ride doesn't get out of control. The two Heritage flat rides are handmade from B25 bronze in Turkey. And as you can see, they are heavily hammered by hand and are lathed on both sides in a slightly uneven pattern. My scale shows 1563 grams for the 19-inch and 1786 grams for the 20-inch. Now let's listen to a few sound files. I try to record the set as acoustically as possible so that you can hear the cymbals in their natural environment. I also find it interesting to make the sound a little wider. This works great with a ball chain from the hardware store. Here you can hear it on the 20-inch model played with brushes. Flat rides are cymbals that are very sensitive to the stick sound. Depending on the weight and head shape of the drumstick, other frequencies become more prominent. So here I've recorded a few models from my collection together with a 20-inch model. So here comes my conclusion. The Heritage flat rights from Zultan respond quickly and sound typically delicate and sparkling. The 19-inch model is a tad drier and of course a little higher in pitch. It also has this somewhat exotic barking sound when you strike it at the edge, which I think is great. On the other hand, the 20-inch model sounds more tonal overall and the stick signal is also a bit livelier. With this cymbal, I would say it's overall a little sweeter. Both cymbals are top quality. The only thing I noticed when playing was that the logo on the 19-inch model wore off quite quickly. And I would like to see Zultan add a 22-inch model to their lineup. In terms of price, both cymbals are very affordable at 229 and 249 euros. So they are also ideal for beginners who want to take their first steps toward jazz cymbals and try out new sounds without having to pay hundreds of euros. That's it for today. If you liked the video, I'm happy about a comment and a like, and you can check out the cymbals while scanning this QR code or use the links in the description below. I hope to see you next time. Until then, bye!